Hey everybody, it's Rob with Cherry City Guns and Ammo, and today we're taking a look at the brand new Smith & Wesson M&P 5.7x28. Stick around. Alright, so as stated in the intro, the new M&P 5.7x28. This was just announced at SHOT Show last month, and as soon as I saw that they were a thing, I started checking Gun Broker every day because I've been wanting to get a 5.7x28 for a while. I just haven't been able to come to the decision of which one I wanted to get. And when you're talking regular just pistols, there's some other weirder stuff out there, but for a real legit pistol, you don't really only have three other options besides this. One of the FNs, and there's like three different generations, but one of the original FN pistols, then the Ruger 5.7 came out, and then I believe it was just this last year, Palmetto State came out with a 5.7, but now you've got a fourth option, an M&P. And I'm a big Smith & Wesson fan, I'm a big M&P fan. And what really made me decide that this is it, I'm biting the bullet, this is the one I'm gonna get, this can be the 5.7, is the really innovative way that this thing works. And we'll get into that later. We will do a field strip like you would do for cleaning or maintenance. Just for the guys on YouTube, I'm not teaching people how to build guns. Regular field strip for cleaning and maintenance. And you'll be able to see the way that this gun works because it's actually a gas operated pistol. It's a really interesting setup. It's super innovative. I think it's really cool. I have not shot this gun yet. These are literally gonna be my first shots, and I will tell you this is unfortunately only gonna be a 50 shot review. And the reason why is I went to my local Sportsman's Warehouse and I got some FN ammo and some federal ammo, and it's really expensive. You know, you're looking at $50 a box. And I bought two, and for some reason, only one of them made it into my truck. And the reason I only bought two is because I found that Rogers Sporting Goods, who I personally just recently became familiar with, I guess it's a thing a lot of people know, but I recently became familiar with it, has a really good price on it, $30.99 a box. So I bought two because I was anxious to come out here and do a review, and somehow only one of them made it into my truck. And where I do my videos is a 40-minute drive each way from my home. So it's gonna be a 50 shot review, but we're gonna shoot this whole lot more, especially once my ammo order comes in. I was just too impatient to wait for it. So let's start shooting. For those of you that are not familiar with 5.7x28, this is it. And this is designed as a pistol cartridge despite the fact that it is a bottleneck cartridge. And what you're looking at is a 22 caliber bullet. It's a 40 grain, and most of the ammo out there for these is 40 grain. There are some other variations, but most of it's about 40 grain. But these are doing over 2,000 feet per second out of a handgun. So let's do our very first shots with this. And it's a 22 round magazine, which is pretty cool. For a completely flush fitting magazine to hold 22 rounds is pretty incredible. Let's see how it shoots. Let's go over here to the Scoops TV plate. Fired one, and it looks like it failed to chamber the next round. Interesting. It's almost like we got a jam in the magazine. That seems a little bit better. So the next round was in there really loose, like it had no spring tension on it, pushing it up. I feel good spring tension now. I don't know if it just had a little bit of binding, but let's see what that does. All right, seemed to feed all right. Let's go for that Scoops TV plate. And we have a failure to feed. Got good spring tension on the next round. Oh, that just managed to fall right in. So this is a little concerning right out of the box. Getting our hostage popper here. Let's hit our plate rack. Huh. Well, it seems to be working okay now. Shot most of our first mag, so this is going to be a short video. What I can tell you so far, this thing has like no recoil to it. It's really amazing. It has no recoil, seems to shoot really flat, and I really like the trigger. Most of the M&P series are a striker fired gun. This actually has an internal hammer, so it feels much more like a revolver in single action. It's got a really crisp trigger, which so far I like. Before we run out of this magazine, let's go out to a little bit of distance. We'll go out here to 60 yards, go to our 60-yard silhouette right there, and then to the left of it we've got that red plate. Let's shoot the red plate now. Yeah, I can't get over how little this thing recoils. It is super, super, super light shooting. I'm still trying to figure out exactly where the point of aim is on that. We had a few hiccups with that first mag. It could be just break-in, so I'm not going to judge them too heavily on that yet. We'll do some more shooting and see how it goes. And I plan on posting a lot of updates, so I'll keep you guys up to date with how this does. I have another magazine loaded up, but let's go to the tabletop and we'll do some field stripping before this thing gets too filthy, and show you how interesting it is that this thing works. It's a really innovative setup. So I'm going to set this up again so we can go to the tabletop. We'll be right back. Alright, we're here on our fancy tabletop. I'll mention another thing. So it comes threaded, so you can put a suppressor on it. And the really cool thing is a lot of your 22 caliber suppressors are actually rated for 5.7 by 28. But most of them are not able to take a Nielsen device or a piston assembly. Luckily with this, because it is a fixed barrel and it does not tip up at all, you actually don't need the Nielsen device or the piston assembly. And I have a silencer co-suppressor that I've purchased that's waiting for ATF approval, and once I have it, I'll be able to run it on this without putting on one of the bigger suppressors. So first thing, obviously, check the gun, make sure it's clear. And then you've got this little half notch here, and you simply line it up with your takedown pin or your slide release, but it's kind of like slide release takedown pin all in one. And then what works well is you take a single round of ammo and you come to this side and you give that a little push. Then you can grab that and it pulls out. And it pretty much comes down like most pistols, including your spring, and then your barrel lifts out. So that's pretty standard. What's not standard is this has an inner barrel and an outer barrel. So this rotates and this inner barrel comes out of here. And so how this works as a gas operated, that's your gas hole. So once the bullet passes beyond that gas port, some of the gas that's pushing the bullet comes through this gas port, and these act like little piston rings inside this outer part of the barrel, and they expand in that chamber and it causes this thing to push back. But it doesn't push just straight back, it has to unlock, so it rotates as it comes back. So that's a really, really interesting, one of its kind design. I'm not familiar with another handgun that works like that. And then it just goes back together like pretty much any other semi-auto pistol. Put everything in place. Again, you pull it back until you can line that little half notch up there and drop your pin in, and that's it. And of course replace your thread protector. So it comes down really easy, despite the fact of being a very different operating system on this thing. And then in action, if you watch right here, as it starts to go, it's easier once it's cocked. You can see this piece just rotates and comes back. So it gives a little bit of like that radial delay, but it's not a radial delay blowback, it's like a radial delay gas operated. So it's pretty interesting the way it works. And the other kind of cool thing it comes with a mag loader, but it is unlike any other mag loader I've ever seen. So you drop your mag in, give it a little space, drop your round in, round snaps in. Very quick, very easy. Once you're getting close to being full, the spring does get rather tight, but because of how this works, you can really put a lot of force on it. And as we stated, it is a 22 round mag, and these are the factory mags that come with it. It comes with 2 of them. So there's the tabletop portion. I'm gonna go get reset up and we're gonna do some more shooting. All right, now that you've seen that, we're going to our other full mag. So I said this is gonna be a 50 round review. It's actually gonna be a 44 round review. The last 6 that we put into the magazine that I showed you with a little loader. I'm saving for my buddy who owns this property. He's very generous in allowing me to come out and do videos at his place. So the least I can do is I can save him a couple of rounds. Now this is one thing I'm noticing so far. It is really hard to get the mag to seat with the slide down. Like really, really, really hard. But then it's still easy to rack. And now there's no tension on that magazine. So keep that in mind if you get one of these. Along with, keep in mind, go to Rogers Sporting Goods and get that ammo for a killing. But let's go out there to 100 yards. No pistol reviews complete without some 100-yard shooting. So we're going to be shooting for our silhouette. It's right there. It's a 2/3 size silhouette out there at 100. See if we can hit it. And we had another failure to feed. I'm really hoping these are temporary issues as we get this thing broken in. Actually though, I can hear, let me zoom back out here. I can hear the rounds are loose, and that's why we had that failure to feed. So I'm gonna clear the round from the gun so I can safely put it in my pocket. So there's something, and I just lost a whole bunch of rounds. Oh, now they just came shooting to the top, despite the fact I just dropped a bunch on the ground. Something is catching, and I don't know why, but I'm getting some type of catch, and then the rounds are not wanting to come up. Hopefully that's just a break-in issue. We'll keep you up to date with that. Keep it in mind, you might need to shoot it a bunch, get it worked in. Let me grab the rounds I just threw all over the place, and we'll do the shooting. So I'm really hoping this magazine issue kind of works itself out. I'm not too happy with it. And I'll tell you, so every round I've loaded so far has been with that little loading tool. And now I understand why they include that. Because the few that popped out when I was trying to get the, whatever it was, to free itself and have the rounds all come to the top, and I lost a few and I picked them up. I loaded them in just by hand, pushing them in. And it's like a typical double feed, like an AR magazine. You just click them straight in and they offset. But it's next to impossible to do it by hand. It is so incredibly hard to get the rounds in there. I feel like I was going to break my thumb. I should have just gone over and grabbed the loading tool. So far I'm not a huge fan of the magazine setup. But again, this is brand new. We'll give it some time, and I'll keep you up to date if things do or don't change. Hopefully they do, and for the better. So once again, 100-yard silhouette. Missed it on the first shot. Let's see if we can get it. Hey, I hit it, but we had another failure to feed. All right, gun's cleared. Picked up a couple rounds that fell out. And it makes sense why it's having a failure to feed, because the spring is not pushing the rounds to the top. There's definitely some type of hang up happening here, and this is a different magazine than the first one. So yeah, literally these drop right in because there's no spring pressure. The other ones, if I held the rounds in and gave it a hard smack, no, there's still no spring tension. I'm gonna go unload these, reload them, see if I can figure out what is going on, and I'll come back to you guys. All right, so I went and gave it a hard smack down on the wooden table over there. Seems like I've got good spring pressure now. And even though this isn't a completely full mag, we've shot 2 rounds out of it, it is still almost impossible to seat the mag with the slide closed. Yeah. I don't know. Well, let's just try to shoot it. All right, 100-yard silhouette. We hit it with the last shot. There we go. Huh. Let's go back to our 60-yard. Huh. Well, it seems like once you get past the first handful of rounds that it seems to work better. It seems like when it's really full, you run into that problem. It seemed like a really hard slam against a wooden table seemed to help with the situation. I'm really hoping that this is something that works out with time. I was having a hard time finding where to hold to hit that 100-yard silhouette. Hit it a few times, but there have been other guns I've had a much easier time with. Granted, shooting 100 yards with an open-sighted pistol is not the easiest thing in the world. I do love the almost total lack of recoil. I love the trigger. It feels good in the hand. There are a few differences. It looks slightly different than your classic M&P, but nothing that has to do with the functionality, just more of the aesthetics. Like this has really straight serrations. The older M&Ps, they have like that fish scale serration, which looks really cool, but it shouldn't matter whether it looks really cool. Does it function? Yes, it functions. And most guns have fairly straight serrations like it does, so I can't really count them down for that. All I can say is I prefer the look of the original M&Ps and the fish scale serrations. I love the fact I'll be able to run the suppressed with a much smaller, lighter suppressor. I love the capacity, but I don't love the fact that, at least as of now, it doesn't feel like I can use that capacity. If I had more rounds, I would load up half full, put in 11 or maybe 15, so it's like similar to like how many you'd be loaded with a Glock 19 or something like that, and see if we had any of those issues, you know, starting off with that not a completely topped off magazine, because if it doesn't function with the full magazine, what's the point of having the capacity? Please subscribe, like the video. If you get subscribed, we're going to do a bunch more shooting with other kinds of ammo. We'll see what this thing likes. We'll see if some of these issues clear themselves up. We'll do some of that like 15 or 16 round of the magazine testing to see what that does. I still wouldn't be happy if it worked flawlessly with 15 or 16 rounds, because one of the reasons I wanted it is its 22 round capacity seems rather nice, and to have to not use that to get it to work flawlessly, I think is kind of silly. Again though, it could just be a break-in issue, so 44 rounds isn't enough to really make a really hard factor on it. What is nice, it's one of the most inexpensive 5.7s you can buy, especially when you compare it to the FN. The FN, you're going to literally spend twice as much. The MSRPs on this is $6.99. I was able to pick it up, I think, for $6.39 plus some shipping. So price-wise, it's not bad. It's comparable to the Ruger and the PSA, who don't have some of the really cool features. Also, it's cut for an optic, which is great. I think in 2023, if you're putting out pistols that are not able to accept an optic, you're not exactly leading the pack. You're kind of pulling up hind tit there. But it's cool. I mean, it's a cool feature, and I don't know if I'll put optics on it or not. I'm pretty comfortable shooting with an open-sighted pistol. But so far, you know, despite the failures to function, it seems pretty good. So we'll do some more shooting. We'll give you some updates as we get more rounds through this thing, in different types of ammo. Maybe it really doesn't like the Federal American Eagle. I mean, it is the cheapest 5.7 ammo you can buy. So maybe some of the original FN ammo runs better. We'll see. But you know, make sure you're subscribed so you can see when it comes out. Thanks for taking your time to watch the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you found it informative. It's really why I do this. I want you to see from the perspective of another consumer how these are. I'm not a paid spokesperson or anything like that. I'm just a regular guy buying guns and shooting them, and that's who I want to make my videos for. Anyway, thanks for sticking around. I hope to see you on the next one, and have a good rest of your day. Bye-bye.